A development in the field of neuroscience is making things a lot easier. Jason found out more.
Education is often seen as the most fundamental thing needed for our kids to thrive in today's world. However, even having received the same quality of education as others, some kids still struggle to keep up, particularly those with auditing processing disorder or dyslexia. 30 years of research has shown that boosting the brain's processing efficiency accelerates quality learning. It's called brain plasticity, and among neuroscientists, it refers to the brain's ability to change at any age throughout life. And a local startup has introduced this knowledge to South Africa using advanced software.
The ForWord programs run online, so it's really important that people have internet access if they want to utilize the programs. The technical requirements aren't too hectic. If you've got a computer that's not older than 5 years, or you've got a relatively new iPad, you can actually use it. We also then require the headsets. The ForWord programs were initially developed to address auditory processing difficulties. So auditory processing difficulties usually has to do with the brain's ability to process the sounds that we hear, incoming sounds, so phonemes, and decoding those phonemes into words. And what the latest research is telling us is that a lot of learning disorders, such as dyslexia, for example, the root of that sits in the brain's ability to process these auditory sounds. And the programs were developed to actually address that auditory processing aspect of the brain.
Brain image studies show that critical areas in the brain used for reading aren't activated in struggling readers as they are in good readers. The ForWord programs leverage the science and opportunity of brain plasticity. By exercising processing skills through intensive adaptive activity, actual physical changes occur in the brain, and this is called rewiring.
Professor Paula Talal worked on auditory processing difficulties, and what she hypothesized is that the speech sounds, now these are the smallest parts of a word, which is called a phoneme. These phonemes are actually too fast for the brain to process. So this is why some individuals have a difficulty with the auditory processing, because the brain is not fast enough to process those speech sounds. She then hypothesized what would happen if we could slow down the speech sounds so that it's a lot slower. The brain can recognize the sound, he can actually store it in the brain and form that neural pathway that will actually help with the auditory processing.
Now, forgetting the science behind it all, the software addresses a multitude of skills in a fun and understandable way for the kid. ForWord identifies the various strengths and weaknesses of the child, pinpointing developmental priority areas. Indigo Learning has already helped many kids develop their learning skills with great success.
The children that have done it, most of the children have made great gains, both academically and emotionally. It certainly helps the children build their confidence. It's an absolute blessing to teachers that this kind of stuff is coming out, because we've always had techniques to use to help remedial children before, but we've never had something that is so easy to use.
Has the program helped my son? Definitely. He has improved his language, reading. Homework is actually a pleasure now. It used to be pulling teeth, and it made a huge difference in my son's life.
In one day, he finished 3 books on his own without asking for help. And that was amazing, because before that he couldn't read at all. But now after he did the program, he read the very first day after he finished the program, he read his first 3 books that we went to get for him at the library, and he was very excited about that. And now his teacher says he's doing very well at school.
He's thinking quicker. He's also reading his words, he's saying it fluently, so it's quite an amazing.
It mostly improved with my maths, and I learned to spell a bit more words, and I learned beyond what my class was actually supposed to be learning.
It's helping me a little bit, but at the end of the year, I'm going to finish ForWord.
The really wonderful thing about ForWord is that the programs are adapted in such a way that people can actually do it at home. So there's a very specific algorithm to it. No 2 students are doing exactly the same program. So each student will have their own very unique profile of strengths and weaknesses, and the program adapts accordingly. But you don't have to physically come into a center to do that. So this all happens in real time and gets managed at a central point. So it gets implemented at school, it gets implemented at home.
Rewiring the brain does sound like a drastic way of changing the brain, but really all it is helping those with disorders to hone the proper skills needed to put them on the same level as others.